What's up, people? It's X here. Today I thought I'd talk about the Avengers Doomsday problem. That's what I'm saying, problem. And this shit is already looking pretty bad as it is right now. And also, the reason why I jumped to this screen is because originally this movie's supposed to be called Avengers King Dynasty. And this is going to be a little bit rant because I'm going to be talking about Avengers Doomsday, how that's going, at least how I think it's going to turn out because it's not looking so well. And Avengers, previous shit that they've been got going before that shit happened. Because the reason why, and also seeing in this image too, is that because basically they're going to re-release Infinity War and Endgame before releasing Avengers Doomsday, which you're just trying to jangle the keys and get people to basically be like, oh yeah, remember this, remember these guys, and it's like, and I'll name one of the reasons why this shit fell apart in the first place is because originally, after Endgame, or at least after Endgame, after 2019, basically they lost the Marvel's creative committee, and now since then we've had flop after flop, and I'm pretty sure people have known it too, or acknowledged it at the very least. Like this didn't do so well, and not to mention all the girl boss energy here. And this is another reason why, unfortunately, even though She-Hulk could have been done better, but they did her dirty. Long story short, they meant to troll people with this show, but all that did was just hurt them further in the end, so not really a win, I guess. And now with that in mind, now we're left with this, Avengers Doomsday, which, mind you, this originally wasn't in the plan. After Endgame, the next phase just kind of fell apart. I mean, originally Kang was meant to be built up, but basically what happened is that not only was it kind of struggling because the TV shows of Marvel weren't exactly doing all that great, and there being like a bunch of people complaining it felt more like homework than actually just watching shit. And not only that, Jonathan Majors stuff also intervened with let's just say, long story short, his problems kind of intervened with the build up, so that he got rid of him as the main build up and as Kang the Conqueror. And then this shit happened where they just changed the Doomsday last second. That's why they're scared on their last feet. This is also the reason why we didn't have a movie 1 year for Marvel, because they weren't doing all that great. They were on their top of the game, and now I guess they really are their end game after all. Which brings me to another problem that I'll say real quick too, is that I think what the problem is that after the previous phases, it's like, I mean, they did have a plan and it just kind of fell apart, especially with what they were doing with the next shit. Like WandaVision, I think it first starts with WandaVision, at least a little bit of it, where Wanda was set up to play a bigger role, but she ended up being the main antagonist for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness instead, and that kind of ruined it. And then, not only that, I think after that step, what happened next was when we started. I mean, I don't think the TV show was the problem. It's just, unfortunately, given what they were trying to do with that, especially Ironheart. I would say that's the worst out of all of them. Even though she did appear in the movies, but they just handled her so poorly that also kind of screwed her. No, not kind of. It did screw up her character. And that alone just basically ruined the whole shit with her dynamic. Well, whatever dynamic she had in Black Panther when she appeared in Black Panther. And not only that, I think another problem that points into is especially the way he did She-Hulk dirty. And then they basically just kind of ruined everything at that point. Everything fell apart. It's like self-sabotage. Part of it's also because of the fact that, with what we're, going with, especially another problem that I think ultimately builds up to that is that, like, for example, the show Falcon Winter Soldier, if they would have made the movie Brave New World right after that show ended, I think it would have had a better reception, because I think that's another problem too that adds on to, is that they wait 5 years, then it's just kind of like too late now, like, oh, how many people remember that show, and there you go. Because Falcon Winter Soldier wasn't a bad show, but at the same time, I also understand that if you're gonna do something like this, because it's funny how, to me, like, when it comes to WandaVision, that's probably the only one where they made a show right after, not right after, but still. And then what makes me want to laugh too is, like, that's the only one where at least it makes sense within the gap. But then Brave New World and Falcon Winter Soldier is like a 3-year gap, so that kind of ruins it. it does kind of ruin the whole point. Like, because anybody who hadn't watched Falcon Winter Soldier be like, wait, why is Sam Wilson new Captain America? Or why is Bucky not in the shit now? It's like, yeah, pretty much. Although, if I'm being totally honest, they should have made it be Bucky because it just makes more sense because Bucky knew Cap better, but that's just me. He knew Steve better. And not only that, another reason why this shit just went downhill is because they didn't really try to. First of all, especially considering what we've got now. Like, I'm just going to use this as an example. Like, this is one of the ones that did just fine. Like, this is during the first phase, which obviously did just fine. But the problem is like, it's because I remember some people were saying, trying to say that the whole multiverse thing's a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, like, or somehow trying to bring into movies stupid idea. Like, it's not a stupid idea at all. It's just the execution. Because, for example, making this cinematic universe. If anyone before have been talking about making a cinematic universe, I'm sure some would have said that's stupid. But you see, it works just fine. It's just the execution on it. It's not the idea itself that's bad. It's the execution, and execution is just lacking. But unfortunately, people don't really like to give things a chance because they're just anti-innovative in nature. But that's besides the point. And then because they're so desperate that then they're gonna bring back all these guys that you've seen in previous films, especially with Robert Downey Jr. now as Doctor Doom. And that's another problem is that when you see that they're desperate because they revealed him as Doctor Doom at the Comic Con. When really that's something you do in a movie. This is the same problem that happened with Avengers, not Avengers. That's the same problem we have with Captain America: Brave New World because Red Hole, that reveal is supposed to be in the movie, but they're so desperate they're like, oh no, let's just reveal that now, and it's like that's what the problem is. This is when the MCU started falling apart, and then you only have a few. I can only name a few good movies in the post like Endgame thing, like Deadpool, Wolverine, Thunderbolts is decent, and there's another one, but I forgot the name of it. But the point is like it's because they don't know what to do with themselves. And then now they have to rehash shit because they're too lazy and they've lost their innovation and actually trying to do something else like bring in folks by real talent because before the first phase of the cinematic universe no one would have known who Chris Hemsworth is or Chris Evans, but thanks to that now they know, and now they're just kind of rehashing them or is rehashing them, and then they have to do Sam Wilson's character dirty or even Bucky's character, or no, not they didn't do Bucky dirty, but still it's like because they don't know what they've ran out of ideas and now they're just on their last feet. And ultimately it's because Avengers Doomsday that just came out of the last second because they don't know what else to do, especially the shit that happened, which originally, like I said, it was a build up towards Kang. And I do at least feel like if it weren't for the shit that happened about Jonathan Majors, maybe the whole Kang thing probably would have done it better because I already know the Ant-Man Quantumania didn't do it all that great. And I know why. They rushed through a lot of things. They didn't try to make shit work out first. And same thing for all the rest of the other stuff. After that, they just lost their touch, even though it could have been a lot better. And then it's like in these next phases, they just basically keep messing up further and further. Like I said, more self-sabotage, and they just don't know what to do now. Because, like I said, with the previous Avengers movies, they did just fine. And then after that, it was just kind of like, what do we do from here? And I do feel like even the first Captain Marvel movie, like which came out before the Marvels movie, like even that one, people weren't really feeling Carol Danvers' character, even though I feel like what boils down to is because of the whole girl boss thing. And not only that, after that, that's why that the movie Marvels didn't do also a lot. That's why the Marvels didn't do a lot good. Not to mention trying to make the New Mutants, that didn't turn out too well, and then that's when they just started losing their shit. Then from that point on to now, this is why it hasn't been doing it, especially like other shows I can think of and movies like Agatha All Along, that and shit didn't do all that great. It's just they keep further self-sabotaging the next phases, and then they're wondering why Shane will pan out so well for them. It's ridiculous. So now we're brought to Avengers Doomsday. Basically, this shit is on its last feet, and all I can say is that now I don't think they're gonna do so well, but we're gonna have to see. So they're on the last feet. So like, subscribe, and see you guys later. Peace.